everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on the HRLocker updates that we've had over the last few weeks. My name is Christelle Wren, and I'm the COO here at HRLocker. So we've done a number of updates, and when we do updates, we do release them through the little pink bubble at the top of the dashboard and through emails, but sometimes I think it's nice just to go through with you guys any of the updates that we've done. So I'm going to briefly go through each of the updates. And I'm not going to go through the individual setups. So if anybody wants to contact me or one of the team here afterwards, and we can go through then how to individually set them up for you. A lot of the updates may already be part of your package already. So it would just be a case of us turning them on for you. So I'm just going to go into the dashboard here first. And so that's what I was talking about, the little pink bubble here. Any updates that we have should come up here and alert you. So the first major update that we've had, actually I'm just going to list them out before I start. So I'm going to go through the on-call button, the payroll, which is a big piece of work so I'm just going to kind of go through exactly what it is, and then if people want to talk to about that afterwards to us, I can go through the setup of it individually. Microsoft Teams integration and where that's going to go as well for everybody. Then there's the background check, the right to work, and the pension auto enrollment. There's also the holiday conflict, which you can set up per team, how many people you allow off at the same time. Customizable fields. So in that personal tab, if you want to add extra fields like uniform sizes or anything like that, you can put them in there as well. The reason for leaving. So when somebody leaves, if you want to track, I suppose, if people have moved jobs or maybe they've left because they've retired or anything like that, we can track that as well. And then there's also the LinkedIn job board integration, the number of reports that we've updated as well. So I'll go through each of them as well. As always, we have questions and answers. So I have Jenny with me who will kind of send the questions to me. So at any time, if you want to pop a question in, I'm happy to answer them either during the webinar or at the end, but please feel free to ask me as many questions as possible. Just, I suppose, to kind of make the webinar as, that you get as much out of the webinar as possible. So as you see, I'm in the dashboard here. And the first thing I'm going to show you is the on-call button, and that's here in the time on here. I'll just give you an example, or I suppose a use case of how companies are using it. So in the timesheet here, as an employee or a manager, you'd log into the timesheet and you see there's on-call there at the bottom of the timesheet. So this is for companies, for example, who would have people who would be getting their base salary, but they're also on call some days, and they may be getting an extra payment for those days. So for example, they might be on a call on a Friday and a Saturday, and they take that, and in your payroll report, or just not for your payroll report, just in a report, just generic report or payroll, it'll show you what days the individual was on call for. And they can also then put in the additional hours that they have. So for example, if that person worked 9 to 4:30, and then it showed that they were on till like 12 o'clock at night that day or something like that, those hours will go towards their overtime as well, or their on-call, whichever way you have set it up. The on-call can be turned on per individual. So if you go to the directory here, just go into an individual here, and I'm hoping I'm choosing the right person that may have the setting. In the settings section here, and in their timesheets here, you'll see there is on-call enabled. So you can turn that off or on per individual. Okay. As always, there's always an approval process. So even though the employee can click that on-call button on for themselves, the manager will still have to approve. And obviously the manager can also do the on-call as well. The other section there on the timesheet, if I just go back there, there's also, if anybody saw these little images here, and what these images are attached to is an actual physical tablet or clock in and out portal that you would have on your premises. So for anybody who has people coming on site that you would like to be physically clocking in and out, the tablet is set up that it's a 4-digit code, so the person can either verbally say the code and it's voice activated, or they can type in the 4-digit number So take a picture of the employee to make sure that you're not kind of that body clocking in and out. So it's actually the individual clocking in. And it automatically clocks in and out on their timesheet. If you're using any of those clocking in and out methods, we also have updated that the timesheets will auto submit and auto approve if you so require. And that's here in the offices. In your time on settings as usual. And if you're using clock in and out, you can see here that there's auto submit timesheets and auto approve. So the auto submit timesheets is that if you don't want people to be having to clock in and out on the tablets or on their phones or on their laptop, whichever they're using, that you'd actually you don't want them to, at the end of the week, have to log into the laptop and submit their timesheet. You prefer just to auto submit. So you can, if you click that auto submit, it'll just auto submit. They don't have to come in here and do anything, the employees. Now, there is always that manager approval. The manager will then come in and approve it. If you would like them just to auto approve, so you can tick that it auto approves, and that takes the manager out of it, so that the employee is just clocking in and out on their tablet or their phone, and their timesheet gets auto submitted and then auto approved for your payroll or whatever it is that you're using. So on that, in terms of payroll, I just go up here to the company settings again. So we do produce that preliminary payroll report that you can use for your payroll. Now, most of the time, this would have to do with hourly workers, but there is also that aspect of the salaried people as well. So I'll just briefly go through this. There is a bit of setup when you're doing the preliminary payroll reporting, because we do need to know what your pay elements are to make sure that the report that we're producing for you is 100% correct and that it can be uploaded into your Sage Payroll or Quantum or BrightPay, whatever it is that you're using. So if I go into the work patterns here, there's add, edit, so the work patterns, just to give a brief, I suppose, explanation for those of you who aren't so familiar with the work patterns. Every employee needs a work pattern, whether that's 0 hours or 40 hours, whatever it is. So that shows the days that they're working. And ultimately, when you're thinking about the work patterns, what you have to think about is if somebody's requesting holidays, what do you want to come out of their holidays? So I'll just show you here. So that's one aspect. So when you're setting up the work pattern, then you need to look at it a step further, which you can decide in terms of when you're setting up their payroll. So you can decide, okay, if this person works between 9 to 5 o'clock. Oh, all right. It'd help if I could type properly. If this person works between 9 to 5, then you can put in your payment ID here that you can set them up to be exactly what it is in your Sage Payroll or whatever it is that you're using. And you could set it up that it is your basic time during 9 to 5. But then if, for example, they work outside of those hours, so maybe if you have a shift allowance for people that come in before 9 o'clock, or you can put in a pay element there that it's like your shift allowance or pre-AM or whatever it is that you're using for that. And likewise, then you can put in your Saturday pay if you want to. So this is on a Monday here. If you go to Saturday, you can put in that the pay element there is double time if somebody's working on a Saturday, or treble time, whatever it is that you're using. And then at the to be very clear as well, we don't calculate pay, but we calculate hours based on each different pay element. So the report that you'll produce out of here will be that, for example, we're in Alan Flannery here, that Alan Flannery worked 25 hours in his basic pay, then he worked 5 hours in that overtime side of things, and then he worked 10 hours on Saturday, which is double time or time and a half, whatever it is. So you'll get that set out. The report will be exactly created to be the exact way that your payroll system requires, so you can just upload it into your payroll then. So if anybody wants to come and talk to us about that, please feel free to book a call with us through support and we can set up that payroll element with you. Okay, so I'm just going to move on from the payroll side of things and we're going to go into the Teams integration. So Microsoft Teams, I suppose, is one of the integrations that we're really looking and concentrating over the next kind of 6 to 12 months. So we've started the integration, and I'm just going to talk about what we have set up at the moment, but then also how we are expanding on that as well. So what we have set up at the moment is, if you go into your settings, and this should be live for everybody in company here, you'll have enable Microsoft Teams integration. And if you click this on in the directory, you'll see here now that there's a meet now and new meeting. So this will be connected to, you don't have to do anything other than just tick the button on. If you're using Microsoft, obviously the email addresses are linked to Microsoft Teams and straight away. So if I press the meet now, it'll start to call Adrian Burke or whoever it is that I want to talk to. So I can filter by office or department. So if I'm looking maybe to talk to somebody in HR, or if I'm looking to talk to somebody in sales, it's just a really easy way to be able to filter them out here in your offices or your departments to be able to ring somebody. So if I'm looking for somebody in the marketing department, I can just ring them straight away there. So again, just if you want to turn on that Teams integration, it's in settings, and scroll down and just to click that enable Microsoft Teams integration, and it should just work. After that, there isn't any other setup. The other two Teams elements that you'll see, they're just in testing at the moment, is that when somebody requests time off or when they're submitting a timesheet, that you'll see it coming into your Microsoft Teams feed. So whoever the manager is, they'll get a notification that their employee has requested time off or submitted a timesheet or something like that. So you'll see it coming on in your Microsoft Teams feed there as well. So the bot there that we're doing. Okay, so then moving on from the Teams integration, the other we have 3 new modules. I'm just going to go into the directory. It's getting easier to show it here. And you'll see here on the side, there's the right to work, background check, and your pensions. So these can be used to kind of set up workflows for each area in those categories. So the right to work is if you have people who need a visa or any kind of documentation or proof in terms of the right to work. Okay, so these are set up. You can set this up per office, because obviously if you're in the UK or if you're in Ireland, there's different visa requirements. So you can set them up. So obviously you can see here, this person here, he has a stamp 4. So it was added by himself. So he uploaded the stamp 4 himself, and the expiry date is the 31st of March 2022. So the employee, so when somebody starts, you can request that they upload their visa information. The employee then comes in, uploads the documentation, the manager gets notified, or whoever it is that you've decided needs to manage this process. They'll go in here, view the information, make sure they're happy with it, and they either complete that the record is updated or that it's incomplete, that they might need more information. For example, if they've had to upload their passport and maybe they didn't upload both sides of it or something like that, or their driver's license, maybe you needed the back and the front of it, so maybe it's incomplete, you need them to come back and do it again. So, but if you're happy with it, you'll click that the record is completed and you validate the record. And then you can decide this yourself when you're creating the different types of right to work. For example, if they're critical skills visas or whatever work visas, and you may know yourself when you're renewing them, it might be a 2 or 3 months process. So you might want to get notified 2 to 3 months in advance. So you can decide when you want to get notified of that. So it kind of starts that workflow for you. The next section here is the background check. Works very similar to the right to work. And this is if you're doing any of the DBS checking or Garda vetting, that you can assign it to people. The individual can come in here and do it. With the Garda vetting, for example, they may get their email back to say that they've been approved, so they can take a picture of that, upload it in here, put in the expiry date. The company can come in, the manager can come in here and make sure that they validate it, so whether it's complete or incomplete, and decide when they want to review it again. So maybe it needs to be 3 months beforehand, whatever it is that you guys want to do yourselves. And then the last bit here is the pensions. So at the moment, in terms of obviously it's a legal obligation in the UK in terms of auto enrolment, and that will be coming into the Republic of Ireland in the next couple of months, as we know. So the way you can set it up here is that you can decide that the person has to opt out to the pension plan here. So you can see here that this person has opted out of the pension plan. So you opted in and then they opted out. So you can make it that the employee is automatically enrolled into the pension, and the employee has to come in here and opt out. If they opt out, obviously it just gives you the date and it gives you a log that the employee has done that. You can set this up to reoccur every 3 years or whatever it is that you'd like to do. 3 years mandatory being that the employee gets notified every 3 years. Are you sure they want to opt out of the pension? Are you really sure? Do you still want to opt out? They get notified every 3 years for that. You can change that to whatever timing that you want there. If they've opted in, you can put their pension information here then as well. Okay. Now to turn these on, you can just, if you're on the professional package, these are included in the professional package already, so there's no additional cost. So if you want these turned on for you, if you just send a message into the support team and they'll turn them on for you. And then they'll appear here in the offices, in the settings section here, and you'll see there's the payroll, right to work, background check, and the turn the pensions on actually is in, it's over here. You can show the pension here. So you can do that per office, or you don't have to, say if you have an office in the UK and you want that auto enrollment turned on for the UK, you can do it there. You don't have to do it everywhere. Okay, so the next section we have here then is the holiday conflict. So a lot of companies have decided to, a lot of companies will have a policy around that they would prefer that per team, that they'd only like maybe 2 members of the same team off at the same time, but they don't want everybody off at the same time. And that can be managed here. If you go into your, it's managed through Teams. If you go into Teams over here, and you can go into, so you can set up all your teams over here. People can be in multiple teams. So if you set up your teams here and press edit, you can set limit number of simultaneous leave requests. If I do, I can say here, so in the customer success team, the maximum number of team members on leave simultaneously, for example, is 3. So then if a member, if an employee's in that team, so a member of the customer success team, now, I won't be able to have more than 3 people off at the same time. Now, a manager or admin can override that at any time, but in terms of the employee, they won't be able to request leave. And you can set that up here in the team section, edit, and the limit number of simultaneous leave requests. So, and again, that should be on for everybody. It's not an additional cost or anything like that. Then the next bit here, I go into settings, and we go into the custom fields. So the custom fields that we're creating are going to go into, I'm just going to show you here in the directory. You choose an individual, the personal tab here. So the custom fields will go into this section over here. Okay, so if I go into settings, scroll down, and you can create some custom fields. So maybe you want to do, let's say, uniform size, maybe if you've got uniforms. Okay, and you can create as many of these as you want. Shoe size, maybe. Maybe somebody else can give you a better suggestion. So you can create these, and then they go into the actual directory in here, into the personal tab. And there's my custom fields there, okay? So you can, I suppose over the years, people have asked for us to put in different fields in here. So we're kind of giving it back onto yourselves to, to be able to create whatever fields you want to customize it yourselves. The other thing I'm just noticing here that's also, I suppose it's updated a couple of months ago, is the known as field. So sometimes somebody will have a first name that, maybe on their passport or on their payroll, that isn't actually the first name that they go by or what they're called. So people will put a known as field here. So, maybe this person's, I suppose the typical ones would be like Kathleen or Catherine or something, and maybe they're known as Kate or Kathy, and you put in the known as field here. Just going to pop to 2 questions here that I have here, and I again encourage anybody to ask as many questions as you want. So why does the project not pause when you take your break? The project keeps running, so at the end of the day, the time does not match. Yes, the project is not is not linked to your timesheet. So the projects here, if you're timing, does not link to your timesheet here. They're two separate things. So you are correct. If you're taking a break, you need to press a break here as well. Now, when you do the project time, you can either use the timer for sure, or you can just enter in the hours that you've done here on it. But it's not connected to your clocking in and out in regards to your timesheet. Okay. Who chooses opt-in, opt-out as the employee? So this is depending on the jurisdiction that you're in. So if you can set it up that the employee can do it. So for example, in the UK, the employee has to opt in or opt out, and they have to do that every 3 years. So you can set it up that they're automatically opted in, and then the employee can opt out. So obviously we don't have that in Ireland yet. It's something that's coming down the line, we've been told. So you can set it up here that the employee is able to opt in and opt out, but you don't have to turn this on for people on probation or anything like that until I suppose they are eligible for the pension. Okay. I just have another question here. So holiday conflict under Teams. If staff working from home out of office, will the system recognize the difference between holiday and out of office? Yes. So just to clarify, this Teams over here, this here is linked to annual leave requests. So it's not linked to any other type of leave. So for example, if I go into offices here, if I go into time off, it is linked here. It's linked to the annual leave. So it is not linked to any of the other days here. It's linked to annual leave specifically. Okay. Perfect. So I'll just move on. So there's just another 2 bits here. So in the directory, the last bit here is the reason for leaving. So if I go into the individual here, and perhaps Adrian is leaving the company. Sorry, if I go into terms of employment, and if I terminate him, I can put in a reason for leaving. This is just really for reporting for your own purposes that you can, I suppose, measure why people are leaving. Was it down to contract finishing, or didn't pass probation, or maybe they retired or redundancy, whatever it is. So you can report basically on why people have left the company. And again, it's really just down to reporting side of things. I'm just going to open up Hire here as well, because there's just a little quick update here. So we do now integrate with the LinkedIn job boards here. So you can post free jobs onto LinkedIn job boards. So by doing that, you can just click that you want your jobs to go up onto LinkedIn. And then there's just one extra thing you have to do with LinkedIn. You don't have to do this with any of the other job boards, but if you're doing it with LinkedIn, you do have to go into your social media, I'm pretty sure over here, yeah, and you have to link your company ID. So that's settings, social media, and your company ID. And you can get your company ID on your LinkedIn page. So just one other question here, sorry. Is it possible to make an option when changing or updating something in settings that will update all offices, or you can select which one it applies to? For sure. So we can't do that right now. It is something that people have asked for several times. If you are doing a lot of changes to one office, and you've got like 10 other offices, if you just drop a message into the support team and they can duplicate those changes across. But we are looking to get that done, that you can just press that magic button and it just duplicates that across throughout, because I do understand your frustration there. So if you are doing mass changes and you want them to kind of trickle down to all the offices, if you just drop a message to the support team, then just let us know. So the next question here is, if someone books annual leave but then is sick, does sick leave override the annual leave? So if someone is out on sick leave, I'm just going to go back here and I'll explain. So if someone is on annual leave, if someone is on annual leave and then they book sick leave, you're going to get a notification that there's an overriding leave. So you will have to go in here and I suppose reject or delete the annual leave and then put in the sick leave. Now you still have a log that the annual leave was removed, but it won't override it. You'll need to do it yourself. So just have another question there. So is it possible to Is it possible to add custom reasons for leaving? So you can't do that through the front end. However, if these have been populated from what people have given us. So if there is an actual reason that isn't here that you'd like to put in, if you just drop us a message into the support bubble, and we can add whatever leave types that you require there. Okay. When posting to Indeed, do we have to set the advertising budget inside Indeed as well? So when you're posting a job through HRLocker to Indeed, there is no cost. So we don't pay for jobs to go onto Indeed. So when you're linking to pay for your job, to push your job onto Indeed, it'll go up on there is no cost. So usually the way Indeed kind of filters it down is that the paid jobs maybe like number 1, 2, and 3, and then our jobs usually are like kind of number 4 and 5 and 6. So if you're paying for jobs for Indeed, you need to do that directly. Now, when you are paying for jobs, if you are going to be paying for jobs through Indeed, and you still want to get the candidates to come through, you need to go into the job, excuse me, and use this link over here. What this link does is, so when you're posting a job up into Indeed directly on the Indeed website, to be clear, so it's not through here, you're going directly onto the Indeed website. You go into Indeed, you post the job up if it's a paid job, and it says something like, how do you wish the candidate to apply, or the URL for applying, or something like that. You use this link, and then the candidates will come in here into HRLocker. But to be honest with you, for the most part, the free jobs work just as well. So what I would suggest, I've suggested this to a number of people, is that just see how you go with the free job for a while, and then see, do you need to actually pay for it. So so you just click over here in the job boards, you click that it goes on to Indeed, and it'll go straight onto Indeed for you. There's no cost to it. Sorry, I was very long-winded. Answer. Okay. Why is the right to work not an option in the onboarding office? It is. I would presume that it's not turned on for you. So these are not on by default, so they were launched and they are part of the professional package. So if you want to either just drop a message into support and we'll turn it on for you straight away, but it should be in here in the offices. I think I have an onboarding office in here. There's an onboarding office here. Oh, I just don't have it turned on for this, but it is the right to work. It should be on for it. Okay. Let me go into that onboarding office. You're in here, okay, and you can turn all these on. So I can enable the background work, enable the pension. So what I would say first is, if you just check you have it on first, so go into your offices, go into the onboarding office, press edit, scroll the whole way down, and you can enable background check, enable right to work, pension, or whatever it is that you require. And if they're not here and you're on the professional package, just drop a message and we'll turn them right on for you and show you how to do that. Okay. Okay, sorry, so I'm not a personal user of LinkedIn. Can you set up a company account for LinkedIn to upload jobs? For sure. So when you're going into hire, okay, and you're going to go into the social media here. This is your LinkedIn company ID, so you need to get that LinkedIn company ID. And there's information here of how to get your LinkedIn company ID. I think it's the last couple of digits on the URL, and then it should link straight to your company. Okay. Will the Indeed applications come directly to HRLocker or stay in the portal? So depending on how you're using it. So if you're posting your jobs directly onto Indeed, not through Hire, you're going onto Indeed and you're putting your jobs up there and they come through the Indeed application, no, they will not come into HRLocker. So this is what you need to do. If you are posting your jobs directly onto Indeed because you're paying for the job slot, then you need to, like I said, when you're posting the job, there'll be something like, and forgive me, I can't remember the exact phrasing of it, but URL, if somebody wants to help me out, they could put it in there. Something like the URL for application, or how do you wish the person to apply, or something like that. And you put in this unique link here, this job link over here, and that brings people straight to this page here basically, and they get to apply here. So the CVs will come directly in here. So that's the ideal. If you're paying for jobs in Indeed, that's the link that you need to do. if you're posting jobs directly from HRLocker onto Indeed, so you've just basically click the button here on your job boards that it's going up onto the free site with Indeed. Like I said, it's going to probably go up to number 4 or 5 slot. Then you need to do nothing. Then you just need to publish the job. It'll go directly onto Indeed. Unfortunately, what we can't control is Indeed refreshes every 24 to 48 hours. To be honest, usually the job goes up within 4 or 5 hours, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And that's just when Indeed refreshes. And then when people apply for jobs, they'll just come in directly. And actually, when a CV comes in, I'm not sure we'll just have it here, but you see I have it here added, but it'll say job, it came from Indeed, so you could be able to track where they actually come from. Okay. Are they free jobs on LinkedIn if we go through HRLocker? Yeah, so they're free. So they will go, so all the HRLocker jobs that we currently have up on there are through the free job board. So if you want to have a look at there, but they goes directly onto HRLocker and there's no cost for them. When posting, can you put in multiple locations, i.e. remote and Dublin? If you select remote and then search any roles in Indeed or in the vacancies don't seem to appear. So this is an Indeed limitation that what they require is you can put in remote. Sorry, I'm just going to go into a job here. And we have this own problem ourselves when we're putting jobs up, as in for our own company. So they're very strict in how you list a job. So they do want you to put in, so if it's remote, for sure, that's fine. You can put it in that it's remote. But you can't put Dublin, Cork, Galway, because Indeed just won't pick up the job like that, because they just want only one city listed. So if it's, so you can't put remote in Dublin, you'll have to put remote in a country like Ireland. Basically, it's kind of, we've had this. If you want to come and chat to us about it, because I've had in the past that I've had people that they're saying, well, it is completely remote. We don't mind if the person is in Ireland or the UK or Spain, you know, because we're using company of notes or whatever it is. So we're happy enough for the jobs to be everywhere. You are going to have to post that job as city, remote, country, being United Kingdom, or you have to do it each time. It's a bit of a pain, I won't lie, but it is it's an Indeed limitation. So we are trying to talk to them about how do we make it easier for you guys, how to do that, because like ourselves, you know, we would have published a job and we're happy to take it. You know, it's remote, kind of, you know, anywhere really worldwide. So it certainly is a limitation from an Indeed perspective, but very long-winded answer. But if you want to come and talk to us, that'd be super. Okay. When will you be adding a metric to report on turnover rate? So for sure, if you want to just come and drop a message to me or just in support, and you can just tell me exactly what you'd like included in the report. I hope people have noticed over the last, I suppose, month or two, we've added a lot of different reports. And if there is a report in there that you're kind of, you know, you require, if you just come and talk to us, and we can create one for you. So if it is a turnover report that you're looking for, if you just come in and, you know, tell us exactly what you require, and that is a job titles or, you know, whatever it is, we can, you know, what metric it is exactly is, or just employee turnover. If you just want to come and talk to us, then we can talk to you then. How much extras the recruitment feature cost per year? So all our prices are on our website. So depending on what package you're on, so I'll just go to pricing here. So the recruitment package is part of premium. So if you want to, I'm not sure what package you're on here. So, you know, you'd have to upgrade to the premium side of it here. So if you want to just contact in either Ronan or Sinead in customer success or any of the support team, and we can, I suppose, give you a quote exactly on your own package on how much it would be to upgrade. Sorry, with regards to the LinkedIn free jobs query, I mean, are they the free job slots, i.e. the same as if I posted a free job? If I want to promote it, I need to pay LinkedIn separately. So it's a little bit different to the free job slot in that it's not linked, it is promoted a bit separately. So it does, it's kind of listed higher than the free jobs. But if you want to promote it, you need to claim the job in LinkedIn. So if you push it in through HRLocker, it'll go up to HRLocker, sorry, it'll go up to LinkedIn in the free side. And then the next time you log into LinkedIn, it'll say there's a job here, do you want to claim it? If you claim it, you can start to promote it, and you have to do that within LinkedIn. I hope that answers your question. So I think I've kind of gone through all the questions and all the updates. There is a couple more updates that we're doing kind of over the next few quarters. I've reached out to a number of companies just to discuss in terms of rostering. So if anybody on the call would like to contact me in regards to any requirements they have from a rostering side of things. And then as well, we're also expanding the project side of it as well over the next few quarters. But for sure, if anybody wants to contact me or the team in regards to building up reports a bit further, or if there's something specifically that you guys you think you'll benefit from, feel free to drop us a call. So thank you so much, everybody, for participating so much. I love to see questions coming. I hope I've answered all of them, and given you, I suppose, the best answer that I can give you. If I haven't, and if I'm completely confused, please drop me a message or drop something in the support team, and somebody will answer your questions. As always, Jenny will be sending on the copy of the webinar to everybody. And as I said, please feel free to contact us if you need any help with anything. So thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day and talk to you all soon.